Race 1 at Rosehill on Saturday. It's for the 2-year-olds over 1100. It holds plenty of interest, this race. I'm tipping number 1, Splintex. I think it's a great price to kick things off. Mark Newnham and Rachel King. It's a Schnitzel colt. He's been to the races twice. He was run down on debut on the Kenzo, but then he led throughout to win off a wide gate last time out, beating Space Boy and AC Bow. And I like the way he really found going through the line. It suggests to me the 1100 won't be a problem. I expect him to cross and lead here. There's not a stack of pressure for a 2-year-old race. And if all the other more fancied runners are behind him, good luck trying to get past him. Splintex for me will do in race 1. Number 5, Exceedance. Well, he's the horse everyone's talking about. It was an amazing debut win at Wyong, over 1100. Came from an impossible position, rounded them up, rattled through the line. He'll appreciate the bigger track here at Rosehill, and no doubt he'll be extremely hard to hold out. But it's always an ask coming from the provincials to town. And I'm just going to put him in for second. Number 2, Space Boy for Gary Portelli. He's had 3 starts for 3 placings. He's running some strong races. And he does get a 2.5 kilo swing on Splintex for when they met last start. And interestingly, he was ridden quietly in a recent trial. So perhaps Gary Portelli just trying to harness some of that energy with Space Boy and settle him just off the speed on Saturday. Number 8, Rotator. First up for Chris Waller, the grey filly. She was very good at both her starts last prep. She's been trialling well and she's come up with barrier 1. Terrific race to start the program. My numbers 1, 5, 2 and 8. Race 2 at Rosehill on Saturday. It's the Tab Highway. This week it's a Class 2 over the 1400 metres. As usual, we've got a big field. Matty Dunn's got the short price favourite here, but I'm tipping one at big odds. Number 18, Upper House. This horse has got a run, the second emergency. He's drawn out very deep, but he gets back anyway, and he's generally a tad slow out of the gates, so I don't think it'll be a massive problem for him. He'll get back, he'll spot them a start, as he's done at his past couple of starts. But I really like the way he rattled home at Wagga during the carnival there in a Class 2, made a stack of late ground to run 4th behind Bricks, and then he went to Goulburn last start over the 1400 again. He probably should have won. He got badly held up in the straight, got out late, hit the line hard and ran 3rd behind Napoli and Capamore. I just think that form's good enough to put him right in the mix here, and with luck, which he'll need, I think he's a good chance at massive odds. Number 2, Our Echo, the short price favourite for Matt Dunn. He's drawn the right gate, he's got the right jockey in Tommy Berry. Blinkers go on for the first time, and he is coming off a listed place 6th in the Queensland Day Stakes behind Vega 1 Multaja last time out. So he does look to have the form on the board. Number 17 for 3rd, Vigorish. I quite liked his effort last start from a wide gate behind Elm Court. That was in a similar race to this, a Class 2 over the 1200 here. The 1400 and a softer gate should suit. And number 1, Legion of Boom, also coming through a slightly stronger form race, I believe. Beaten about 4.5 lengths behind the promising High Shine at Scone last time out, and drew a wide gate on that occasion. My numbers in the highway, 18, 2, 17 and 1. Race 3 at Rosehill on Saturday. It's a benchmark 74 over 1200 metres for the 3-year-olds, and I really like one here at a bit of a price in Riverbird. Trained by Jason Coyle, Riverbird was outstanding first up this prep, breaking her maiden when a heavily backed odds-on favourite at Wyong. She got the job done easily. She was soft through the line, and she deserved that win, as she'd been knocking on the door last campaign with 3 consecutive seconds at Canterbury. A couple of those she was a good thing beaten. They were strong form races, including beaten by Reelam in Ruby, a Lundberg, and then she went out for a spell after finishing 7th in the Gosford Guineas behind Military Zone. I think she can go right on with the job this prep. Love the way she trialled coming into it, and with that win under her belt, I think she can certainly handle a step to Saturday City Company, and I'm happy to gamble on her even though she's got a slightly tricky gate. Thought the big danger was the 3 Above and Beyond. There's a strong form reference here, this Host Win Supreme race last start, and you could argue that Above and Beyond was the good thing beaten in that race. He just got locked up for a run for most of the straight, couldn't get through, was only beaten a length and a half. Number 5, Call Me Royal. Well, she ran second in the same race. She led them up until the last stride. She's drawn the outside gate, so she'll have to do a bit of work to get across, but she'll also strip fitter for that run, and she never runs a bad race. So she'll be there fighting it out. And number 1, Lundberg, he's back at the races. He's got the big weight here, 59 kilos, but he's been trialling well, and he had some terrific form last prep. A couple of his defeats came at the hands of the very smart Vega Days, although I can draw a line back through Riverbird, and I think Riverbird will be beating Lundberg on Saturday. My numbers in the 3rd, 14, 3, 5 and 1. Race 4 at Rosehill on Saturday at benchmark 88 over 1200 metres, and I think the Snowden stable have a strong hold on this race. I'm leaning towards Poetic Charmer as my top pick. Poetic Charmer's back from a spell here. He's had the 2 trials. I've liked both of them, in particular his last trial at Hawkesbury, beating his stablemate Smart Edge and Lundberg. He's got solid first up stats. He's down in the weights. Tommy Berry rides, who has a good record on him. And most importantly, he's the good track stats. 12 starts on good tracks. Poetic Charmer's finished in the Quinella on 9 occasions. And I do think he's got the versatility to go forward if they want to from the wide draw. The Main Danger is also drawn out. That's number 8, Dracaries, the stablemate. He resumed in the listed Hortensia Stakes behind Viridine and Victorum. He was only beaten 3 and a bit lengths. He was first up from well over a year off. He's obviously had some major injury problems. He's still a colt. 5 of his 7 races have been in stakes company, so he looks really well graded here in a benchmark 88. And if you can improve off that first up run, he'll only have to prove a bit, and he's right in the mix here. Number 1, Passage of Time, barrier 1, back to the 1200, but make plenty of sense. He did win at the Kenzo track over 1252 starts ago. And I thought number 10, Oxford Tycoon, another one with a slightly tricky gate, but he was very good first up behind Host Win Supreme and Call Me Royal, and I expect him to be in this for a long way with the 53 kilos. My numbers in race 4, 9, 8, 1 and 10. Race 5 at Rosehill on Saturday, a benchmark 78 for the fillies and mares over 1,400 metres. Short price favourite will be Reel 'Em In Ruby, and I'm going along for the ride. I'm a big fan of this filly. She's tough, she's consistent. She's now had 6 starts for 2 wins and 4 placings. I know she's been rolled twice this prep as a short price favourite, but she was only just beaten. She was beaten a lip by Echo Jet first up. She was beaten a lip last start by Strome. She's drawn well here to get a soft run. Tommy Berry sticks solid with her, and I think the Snowden stable will be expecting her to break it through for a win now, and I think she will. Number 9, Reel 'Em In Ruby. Number 4, Pumpkin Pie. I've marked her as the big danger. She was terrific in the Dark Jewel last start, a Group 3 race. Savatiano ran second in that race and went up to Brisbane as won since, so we know it's a strong form reference, and Pumpkin Pie drops in grade significantly here from a Group 3 back to a benchmark 78. Number 15 for third, Constellations, a lightly raced mare from the Anthony Cummings yard. Came through the same form line as Reel 'Em In Ruby last start, finishing third behind Strome and Reel 'Em In Ruby. And she doesn't really get any swing at the weights here, and she's got a tricky gait. So I don't know if she'll be able to turn the tables, but I'm sure she'll run well. And number 2, Nikki's Gold. I think she could perform well fresh here at a bit of a price. She usually does go well second up, but I like the way she's been trialling this time around. And from a soft gate, just watch for her poking through late and getting into the money. My numbers in race 5, 9, 4, 15 and 2. Race 6 at Rosehill on Saturday, a benchmark 78 over the 1,300 metres. It's also the first leg of the quaddie. My quaddie numbers can be found at the end of this spiel, but here I'm tipping a bit of a roughie. Nick O'Shea each way at good odds. Nick O'Shea trained by Jason Coyle, Kathy O'Hara to ride. Lovely gate for him. He should settle back off the pace here in a fast run affair. He's had 2 barrier trials to get him ready. He's best on good tracks, which he should get also. And I just think this campaign may be targeting shorter races. I think last prep Jason Coyle probably had him pegged to get over a trip, and it didn't quite work out. By the end of the campaign, they were dropping back to these sort of journeys. And I think now, targeting these sort of trips, 1,300 to 1,500, it wouldn't surprise me at all if he bucked his first up form and came out and ran a bottler. So number 14 each way for me, Nick O'Shea. To beat the 12, Capperjack, the likely favourite. He was terrific first up on the Kenzo over 1,100, chasing home Zonk. Smashed the clock. He broke 33 seconds his last 600. Unfortunately, he's come up with the outside gate, so it does dictate a little bit to Tommy Berry where he has to get to in the run. He'll need a few things to fall his way. It wouldn't surprise me if he won, but I do think he's short enough in the market. Number 8, Echo Jet. I think he can run a cheeky race at odds. He's drawn perfectly. He was hampered coming out of the gates at Rosehill last start off a wide draw, and that put paid to his chances. I thought his effort to only get beaten 3 lengths was very good, and the blinkers go back on. And number 13, Dynamite, it also gets the blinkers for the first time. He's just been racing below his best this prep, but I know there's more there, and maybe the blinkers will do the trick. My numbers in race 6, 14, 12, 8 and 13. Good luck if you're playing the quaddie at Rosehill on Saturday. I'll certainly be taking a ticket, and these are my quaddie numbers. First leg, 14, 12, 8 and 13. Second leg, 5, 6, 4, 3 and 2. Third leg, 15, 12, 4 and 3. And the final leg, numbers 14 and 7. There are 160 combinations in that quaddie, so use the tab Flexi betting option that suits your budget, and good luck with your Rosehill quaddie on Saturday. Race 7 at Rosehill on Saturday. It's the feature race. It's the listed McKell Cup over 2,400 metres. It's an open affair. Chris Waller dominates with numbers, and I do think he'll train the winner, and I'm going for Black on Gold as my top pick. Black on Gold was probably the black booker out of the Lord Mayor's Cup, which is the obvious form reference coming into this. He drew wide, he went back, he rattled through the pack late to go down half a length, finishing 4th behind Grey Lion and Girl Tuesday. The 2400 looks to suit, although he's never been at the distance before. He has got 3 of his career wins here at Rosehill, and he ran third over 2200 at the end of his last campaign. That was in the $1 million Magic Millions trophy. So I'm happy to back him to get the 2400, especially with only 54 kilos, and he is a good track specialist, so conditions should suit for him. Number 6, Girl Tuesday, who ran second in the Lord Mayor's Cup. It was a massive performance. She was a bit slow out. She circled the field. She was there to be beaten, and in the end she was only beaten by the bob of her head behind Grey Lion. She lightly raced, she's got upside, and again, she hasn't been tested at the trip, but I would expect her to see it right out. Number 4, our Big Mike, the Kiwi, an astute stable, generally performs best on soft track, so the good track is slight query, but I think he'll lead from that gate and he'll take a lot of catching. And number 3, Casterton, if you're looking for a roughie, really liked his recent trial on the 24th of May, and if he can find his best form, he could certainly be competitive in a race like this, and he has drawn ideally. My numbers in the McKell Cup, 5, 6, 4 and 3. Race 8 at Rosehill on Saturday, a benchmark 88 over the 1500 metres, and I'm sticking with the horse I backed first up, Asterius, to win this. Asterius rattled home first up over the 1400 here at Rosehill. Now, he drew barrier 14 of 14 there, so he had to go a long way back. He copped a bump at the top of the straight. I think it cost him victory. He only went down in a 3-way photo, and he would have won the race in another 2 strides. He was big odds on that occasion, not so big odds on this occasion, because he's fitter second up. He gets out to the 1500. He's got barrier 2 this time, and of course everybody saw that first up run. But believe me, he trialled well leading into that, and I think he's come back in terrific order. Number 12, I'll mark as the Danger Strome. She's a mare in form. She's won 2 of her 3 starts this prep. The only defeat came at the hands of She's Furline, and she beat Reelham in Ruby fair and square last start here at Rosehill. Number 4 goes in for third, Gresham. I think he's a huge improver at odds. He just stumbled coming out of the gates when resuming. Behind Desert Lord, I think he'll settle much closer to the action, second up out to 1500 off a soft gate. And number 3, Roman Sun, he's just too classy to see him go around at such a big price. His first up effort in the Scone Cup was solid enough, and I do think he can improve sharply here at Rosehill. My numbers in race 8, 15, 12, 4 and 3. Race 9, the lucky last at Rosehill on Saturday, a benchmark 78 over the 1100 metres, and I'm really keen on the favourite here, Spiritual Pursuit. She's a horse I've been waiting to resume. She's been trialling up a storm. She had a big campaign last prep. She won first up. She ended up winning 2 of her 3 starts last campaign, and the only defeat was a narrow one at the hands of the very smart Baller, and she split Baller and Prophet's thumb at Rosehill over 1100 in that race. As I said, her 2 trials have been spot on, and I want to back her first up. She's got a slightly tricky gate, that's the concern, but the way she's going, I think she'll win better races than a benchmark 78, and she's only got 54 kilos. So now is the time to back Spiritual Pursuit. I thought number 7 was the main danger here, Oneness. His effort was enormous first up at Scone. Now with the Björn Baker yard, he's got good second up figures. He drew 14 of 16 there at Scone. He was back, he was wide. He zoomed home to run second behind Akasaki. He's got barrier 2 this time, so expect an improvement from him. Number 4, Wagner, comes through the exact same race, the Akasaki race at Scone. Now, he was badly locked up for a run, hard in the market, was sent out favourite there. So where there's smoke, there's fire. He's certainly a big chance if he can get a clear crack at them this time. Tommy Berry takes the ride. And number 13, Invictus Salute. The blinkers come off, but she's come up with barrier 1. Robbie Dolan claims 2, and she'll scoot along there from barrier 1, and she'll give you a great sight. She's always had the ability. She's just been a little bit hot and cold so far. My numbers in the last, 14, 7, 4 and 13.